Hi guys, Spartan765 here. Today I'm doing a video just on cleaning your mags. Okay, because this is something that I see all the time. And that is that somebody's gun is jamming. And they've claimed to have cleaned the entire gun multiple times to its point where it's spotless, and it's still jamming and they can't figure out why. Okay. 9 times out of 10 when you have a perfectly normal functioning gun beforehand, and then afterwards it jams and it won't feed and it's stovepipes and whatever else, 9 times out of 10 it's because the magazine is dirty. I have taken before a magazine of a buddy's and looked at it, pushed it down like that, finger came out black. Okay. People, you gotta remember, a magazine is part of the gun. It needs to be cleaned when you clean your gun. A lot of people will be like, oh, I never clean my mags, what's the point? Or, I clean my mags maybe once every 20 times I clean my gun. No, it's good to get into a habit to clean your magazines when you clean your gun. Because you gotta realize, if your magazine's got dirt in it, that's a huge reliability issue for your gun. And there are so many different types of magazines out there. And there are some magazines that some people are just a little bit worried to take apart and clean because they're hard to take apart, or you can't take them apart, or they're just very difficult. But again, probably 99 out of 100 magazines can be disassembled. There's a couple of exceptions, and I have one of those here today to show you. A lot of mags, here's a very common mag, an AR-15P mag. You can disassemble these without even using any tools. Take your fingernail down there. Oh, there that goes. Pop it apart just like this. Okay. Now all you got to do, this is the only one I'm going to take apart in demonstration of the video because I can do it with one hand without a tool. This is probably the easiest take apart out of all the mags on the table. Obviously when you clean a mag, you're going to take the spring out, right? You're going to want to spray some type of a rem oil in there, and you're going to want to clean it with a paper towel. Do not leave oil in the magazine. A very, 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 very thin coating is acceptable. But you want to realize that oil in a magazine is going to create crap, or dust is going to stick to it like a magnet. So try to get that cleaned out pretty good. If you got a metal magazine, I haven't seen an issue with this, leaving a little bit of oil on the spring. I don't really see a problem with that. Just not like a dusting or rem oil, just to keep it, so it resists, corrosion if it's not stainless steel. And then you're going to want to clean your spring. Take a paper towel, wrap it around. Obviously, after you spray some rem oil on it, go up the spring, clean the follower, clean the floor plate. Do all that stuff. I mean, that's very important to do in order to keep your firearm reliable. Let's put this back together here. Other magazines that you see that are fairly common is the AK mag. The AK mag. Here, hang on one second. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to put that back together after the video. I'm not going to try and do it one-handed and fuck up the video. Alright, the AK mags take apart the same way. You push this detent down, floor plate comes off, spring comes out. The AK mag springs are a little bit more violent coming out than an AR-15 spring. But same thing. You do the same procedure. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're taking apart these mags, point the floor plate end away from your face and you're taking it apart, because I have heard stories before on the internet of somebody taking their mag apart and it slips and the spring flies up and takes their eye out. Be careful when you do that. Here's another example. We got a 75 round drum mag. Mag's full because I just keep these loaded all the time. They're good for ammunition storage because they don't have to have tension in the spring. When you got something like this, you're going to want to wipe off the inside here a little bit of oil, make sure you get it clean. A rem oil, something that's not going to make the thing all oily, so you can get most of the oil off. Except for a really, really thin layer left in there. Just take a paper towel, Q-tips, whatever you can do to get at this here. That's what I generally do with those. And you got a various assortment of handgun magazines here. Now, most pistol mags will take apart, just by pushing down this little detent here, and you can slide the floor plate off. For most of them, Glocks are the exception. The Glocks are a pain in the ass. You got to take this detent here, or push a pin punch down to get that so that little detent plate in there is sideways. Then you'll notice these two tabs right here on the side. Those little tabs, you can't just slide it off. You got to push in with your fingers as hard as you can after that detent. If this detent isn't, if this little black dot here is visible, you will not be able to take the mag apart. you're going to want to push that down to the point where it's sideways or it fell down in the magazine. Push these together as hard as you can, and then you can slide it off. You can't do it with your fingers. Use a vise or something, or a channel lock with, a buffer like some paper towel so you don't damage it. These single stack LC9 mags, same thing. These are very easy to take apart. Here we have a Beretta mag, a Beretta 96 mag. Same thing, very easy to take apart. Tokarev 9mm magazine, very easy to take apart. You got these, it's the same thing. Most of them are all just these detents in the bottom. The standard Tokarev magazine, though, is a little bit different. It's got this little tiny tab right here that you got to push down. And sometimes you can do it with your fingernail. Sometimes you got to use like a flathead screwdriver. You push that and it slides off same way. The Ruger Mark 1, 2, and 3 mags, they're a little bit different, but still they're kind of the same. There's that little hole in the bottom right here. There's a detent in there. Push that down and it'll slide off. Okay. CZ52 mag, a little bit more difficult, but not too bad. It's just that the detent right there is just a little spring. Just going to want to, push that down with something, you slide right off. The ones that get to be a little bit more complicated, but they're really not that bad, are the Ruger mags or rotary mags for the 1022. This guy here, the BX25, you just take these two screws out, lift the plate off, and you can lift the feet. Oh, whoops, sorry. Didn't mean to be filming over there. You can lift the feed lips out and everything like that. And the coil spring, it's just a, or not a coil spring, it's a flat, oh God, brain farted it. A flat coil spring that, it's flat and it just rolls around. Yeah. You can use that and clean that. Very easy. It's not going to blow apart when you take it apart. This one here I see all the time. This is one of those magazines that people are just afraid to take apart. It's a 1022 standard 10-round mag because they think it's going to blow apart when they take it apart, and that is just simply not true. What you're going to want to do is take this Allen wrench screw out here, or you're going to want to loosen this here with your finger on this. This is the back plate here. This as you can see, the crease, this comes off. Start loosening this, and that'll push this this end of the screw up, and then just twist that off. It'll come off. You can pop the plate off and pull this screw out, and then what'll come out, it'll just be the rotary piece. You'll have the rotary piece out, and you'll be able to take the feed lips off, clean those. The spring is contained inside this little red rotor in here. So the spring, you could take the spring out if you want. There's a little area where you could pop part of the spring down and twist it out, but there's really no need to. I mean, you can spray it with some Rem oil or whatever, get it cleaned out. But these will not blow apart when you take them off. They're very easy to take apart. A lot of people have said, well, I've heard this, on the internet, and both from friends and family that have Ruger 1022s. Well, I don't really want to take that apart to clean it. It looks like it might blow apart, because they think there's a big old spring in there that's going to, crap out on them or something. Okay, next I'm going to cover this guy here. This is a CZ Duo magazine. This is a magazine that you cannot disassemble without damaging. This is very rare to see magazines that you cannot take apart. As you can see, the floor plate right here, sorry for the shaky camera by the way, the floor plate right here is just on there, and then the sides of the magazine are curled over. Oh, whoops. The sides of the magazine are curled over, so you cannot remove this floor plate without damaging the magazine. Now, how to clean something like this is, well, you're not going to be able to clean the spring very well, but you just push this down all the way with like some type of a tool, and then you spray a little bit of Rem oil in there and get in there with a paper towel. It's about the only way to really clean those. Or a Q-tip, I mean, if you really wanted to, I suppose you could stick a Q-tip in the side of each one of these little holes and clean the spring. I don't shoot that gun that much, so magazine's fairly clean as it is. But anyway, that's the video. Just again, remember, make sure to clean your mags. They're just as important as cleaning your gun. Spartan